Hi everybody, it's Katryna. Welcome to Katryna's Garden Homestead. I am processing some basil today that I dried out. So I'm going to bring you along with me. And this is basil from my garden. We use a lot of fresh herbs from the garden because I do grow a lot of herbs. I have basil, oregano down there, parsley, we got garlic, I got all kinds of herbs and spices and stuff down in the garden. But I'm going to bring you along as I process this basil. So let's get started. Alright, so here are just a few things that you will need to get started. First of all, I'm going to chop them up real finely in my coffee grinder. And I don't grind. I do have coffee that I can grind, but I haven't used it for a while because we still have already ground coffee. Alright, now you're going to need a dehydrator in order to dry out your basil, and I like to dry mine at 122 degrees for about 5 to 6 hours. Alright, and then what I do is I pull my trays out. Alright, and these are the trays, and as you can see, that's all the basil there. And I have a paper towel here, and I'm just going to dump them onto the paper towel. Alright, so I have 4 racks of basil. That we're going to dump out onto the paper towel. That's one rack. Here's the other one. It's 2 racks. Here's the third rack. The 4th rack, and I spread these out quite a bit so that they could get drier faster. Alright, so that was our 4 racks, and this is not a lot of basil, but it is enough for us to cook with because I will be harvesting again more next week. Alright, but that's how what the basil is looking like right now. Alright, and I'm just going to take this, just like that, and we're going to put it in our coffee grinder. And I just stuff it in there, because it is going to get ground up. Alright, and then I'm going to take the rest, push it down to that crease, and we're going to put that in there as well. Alright, so we got our basil in the coffee grinder. Alright, and this is the jar that I will put it in. Alright, and I will put a sifter on the top of this. But this is my basil jar. I got these spice jars off of Amazon, and they are very nice. So, and I use these for my spices, my homemade spices, so that I know exactly what I'm using, because there are some other ones in my cabinet there. Alright, and we just put the lid on. Alright, and we're going, and we're not on there. And I like to take my little knife and just push this down, push it on down. And then, as you can see, Basil is grinding down in there very well. Try it that way. Now, how long you do this will determine how fine a grains you get. And that is right there is about how I like it. Alright, so we're going to put it in its jar now. And I do it over the paper towel, so if any drops on the paper towel, I can crease and get it in here. And then what doesn't come out will come out on the paper towel. So we've got it all out. That's what we're looking like in the jar. Not a drastic amount, but it's mine. I grew it and I'm going to use it. Now, I don't know if y'all just heard that crow, but that was the quail crowing. Alright, and we're just going to dump that right in there. Alright, so that is what our basil is looking like. And I will put a sifter on the top of that after I have dried it. So remember, get in that garden, get those herbs grown. If nothing else, grow you some herbs so you can spice your own foods and see how different they taste with your homemade herbs. And that will inspire you to grow more food. So you can season it with your own herbs, and it is a whole different experience, y'all. So get on board. Hope to see you there on this journey. Welcome to Katryna's Garden Homestead. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help grow this channel. We'll be sharing more because we are coming into canning season. And I have a lot of canning videos already on here. So you all go back and watch some of those videos. In the meantime, in between time, you all be blessed and happy harvesting.